Okay, thank you. Good evening, Mark Ells, Director of Public Works. First, I'd like to thank all that assisted in this response. Certainly the members of our police department, fire, our water board, our staff, our contractor at the facility. The staff goes well beyond Public Works, our Board of Health, pulled together over the weekend to a very critical public health issue, followed all protocols under DEP regulation, and I can't say enough about the effort that was put in to assure that the public health and safety was a priority in responding to this issue. We apologize for any inconvenience and or confusion that this event may have caused any of our residents, businesses, or visitors. We take the provision of safe public drinking water to our customers seriously, and the situation that occurred this past weekend requires a clear explanation and prompt action to assure that a reoccurrence does not happen in the future. During routine sampling of our Hyannis water system, we had a positive test result for total coliform bacteria and E-Coli bacteria in our small water tank. Just to take a second and describe our water system, it's really comprised of three major parts. It's the distribution, it's the wells that pump the water, the distribution system that distributes the water to our customers, and then two storage tanks, both actually a significant distance away from the system, actually at a higher elevation, and those are primarily used to provide additional flow during high flow periods such as perhaps a fire or peak demand times. And so this is where the occurrence happened. It happened in the smaller of those two tanks. And so I'll just continue from there. It was not, one of the confusions was that it was not in the distribution system, and actually we had sampled and not found that it was in the distribution right from the start of this incident. Upon receiving this information relative to the exceedance, we contacted state and local officials and proceeded as per the Department of Environmental Protection's regulations. We followed all protocols relative to this event as outlined by the Department of Environmental Protection. After consultation with DEP staff, a boil order was issued as a precautionary measure to ensure public health and safety. The bacteria counts identified in sampling were considered low and limited to the storage tank, but this action was a precautionary measure and required under state regulations. I've already described to you what our system looks like and where we found this exceedance in our system. Total coliform and E-coliform bacteria can make you sick, and our particular concerns with people with weakened immune systems. The bacteria can cause symptoms such as diarrhea, cramps, nausea, and headache. We were in constant communication with our Board of Health, the State Board of Health, and Cape Cod Hospital, and to my knowledge, there weren't any reported incidents of this, and that makes sense because, again, it wasn't found within the drinking water distribution system. It was found within the storage tank. What did we do? We chlorinated and are continuing to chlorinate the water system. We also continue to work with our Board of Health, the State Board of Health, and the Department of Environmental Protection on this issue. We continue to provide, we continue to perform follow-up sampling within the system. All follow-up tests have come back clean. We do them in the tank, we do them in the distribution system. We are in continued contact with state, county, and local officials. We are proceeding with an independent investigation of the operation. I spoke with the Department of Environmental Protection today, and they have offered and will commence a comprehensive system assessment of our system so that they can come back to us and give us an investigation report and an overall audit of every aspect of our system: operation, maintenance, sampling protocol, communications, all aspects of what would be required to respond to an event such as this. So we will continue to work with them. I've been in contact with Chuck Shurtleff out of the Southeast Regional Office, and I expect that he and I and other staff members will be meeting in the upcoming days and weeks to move forward with this and to hopefully conclude this quickly so that we can come to some conclusive we can come to some ends here relative to why this occurred and how it can be prevented in the future. I've also created an advisory committee internally of local and up through county and state level experts in the field, people that are certainly within our community from other water districts, people from the county and the state. They've all agreed to sit down and internally look at what's happened and certainly advise as we move forward on this, just for an objective set of eyes that can provide us some more technical expertise to, again, assure that this sort of incident does not occur again. One of the things to point out here is that in our earlier studies at the time of acquisition and then subsequent to that, with our hydraulic assessment that we completed of our system, the replacement of the older of these two tanks, which is the smaller one and the one that most recently had the bacteria exceedance, is our prioritized capital improvement project. At this point, we're moving forward with a preliminary siting evaluation. We're not looking to put it up where the other two tanks are. We need to actually spread that capacity a little more within the system, so we're looking on the west side of our system, and we will be working internally to look for municipal parcels, but not limited to that, and try to identify a site so that we can move that project forward in the near future. If you have any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer them at this time.
Okay, councilors, Councilor Manafo.
From the beginning, there were a number of issues that were raised about communication and issues that were raised about availability of drinking water. Now, I don't know if addressing you directly or if there's going to be other people responding to that further on. If you can answer those now, but when we talk about fecal coliform and we talk about the amount of contamination that was actually found, now I know that when you take a petri dish, and I have to do my own lab samplings for dealing with wastewater, there's an actual count. Can you give a description in regards to what was found and what are acceptable levels in other areas, some type of way so we can understand just how de minimis this really was of an impact on the community, yet we have a responsibility to protect everybody?
Yeah, okay, I can try. I know that Tom McKeon had attended earlier meetings and had intended to be here tonight. I don't know if he's here yet, but I'll do my best to address that question. First of all, the drinking water thresholds would be different potentially than others, so we are focused on the regulations pertinent to drinking water, and the public health is of the utmost importance to us. So to compare it, I think we had about 5 colonies, I believe is how it was described, which one colony triggers an exceedance. And Tom McKeon had shared with us that perhaps at the time of a closing of a beach, you'd be looking for 250 or more colonies to actually say, okay, you can't go in the water. But those aren't drinking water standards. We are held to a very high standard to protect public safety. It was a low amount, but any amount triggers a response on our part.
Madam President, on the other questions that I have, there'll be future speakers, and I can get some of those questions addressed then?
I think we've got people available in the audience, but...
Okay, well, then I'd
like
to...
I can try to address
the
drinking water availability. I think the initial notices advise the boil order is just that. It is saying to the public that you can boil the water and consume it. And so that was always an option throughout this. It could be used for every other thing except for direct ingestion. We had available a limited amount through, at our water site of bottled water for residents who called, and when they did call and ask for it, we were able to provide it. As this moved into Monday, we opened up the Centerville Elementary School for anybody who wanted to have direct access to water. We have various water purveyors in our community, and that one was the closest outside of the Hyannis system, so we had that open from morning till night for our residents. And we were in direct communications with MEMA, who were ready to bring down water had the boil order not been lifted. So if this had extended, they were available to come in. Not only were they available to come in with a truckload of bottled water, but they also immediately contacted some of the larger distributors of bottled water because they had those immediate connections, and asked that they be ready to bring in water from other local stores in the event that it was needed.